Hello everyone, I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm just going to check it all because we're a little bit late to the party. Let's just make sure we've got everything working as well. Get onto YouTube, make sure we're all running nice and smooth. Go onto YouTube. Yeah, we are all okay, so let's make sure we've got that there so that you can all see and hear me. Let's make sure we've shared it as well to the appropriate lobbies, and then we will be up and ready to rock and roll. Obviously we are here tonight with Eldar Sim Racing and their brand new Porsche League, the Porsche 911 RSR Championship, which is the brainchild of Darren Baldwin for tonight. So they're all running the same vehicle. I'm just going to share a link to tonight's stream on the group page. Just that one. Right, and that is all shared and hunky-dory. We are live and raring to go, I believe, guys. So, as I say, this is the Eldar Sim Racing Porsche 911 RSR League, brought to you by, obviously, ESR, and thought up by Darren Baldwin, whose car we are currently seeing the rear end of at the moment. We've got messages on YouTube that I'm missing already. There we are. So we got Callum Davis. Hello, how are you? I'm doing well. Hot, sweaty, but raring to go for my first hour's endurance commentary. Just making sure I've got everything set up and correct. Let's switch to the keyboard settings as well. It looks like we've had a small delay. I've obviously been late to the party in joining everything, but we're here now. Hello Darren, obviously on YouTube. Kim from the other room, who's very kindly taken over from me from getting the kids ready for bedtime, so I cannot thank her enough. It allows me to come out here, get set up, and see all of you guys raring to go. We've got ideal start here. Look, we've jumped on to see Brian Roncani here, who is actually racing in place of Stu Shelton, who has undergone surgery today. Hope everything's well for you, Stu. If you're watching, hello and good evening. Wish you all the best, mate, and hopefully you'll be back raring to go in time for next week. We won't go into any more details than that unless you're going to share in chat, but yeah, wish you all the best, mate, and hopefully we will see you next week. We've got a few more messages coming through. We've got obviously Callum Davis. It's Doggerel, but Callum Doggerel, but it's his YouTube alias. So hello Callum, another local lad to myself. MPV Dino, who will be racing within the championship. Is he out on track or is he in the pits at the moment? Let's find out. Moz, Rooster, Icicle. There we are, there's Dino, and yeah, so he's just sat in the pits at the moment. Hoppers, hello, how are you? A co-sponsor of the league for tonight. Popovich, I believe, is also going to be running in the league and the championship. I will surely find him at some point. We've got a Eldar Machado. I hope I've said that right. I apologise if not. I'm not very good with names. But going for Mistake Fake, which is Nuno George. Yes, Kim's watching, but as I say, from another room at the moment. Phil, hiya. Thank you very much for the good luck on the commentary. This is the first endurance one I've done. I'm only used to doing the short sprint races on the old 208 series, so we'll see how tonight goes. Yes, Callum, it is all fun and games here, but we'll see how tonight goes. I've got a bit of a trial set up tonight, so I'm hoping it's all going to go well. Hopefully we'll get some decent pictures and commentary from you all. Like I say, we've got the 911s, we've got a few extra runners here that I wasn't expecting. So we've got Moz, who I didn't actually realise was taking part, a late addition to the grid, running a wonderful Snickers and hazelnut livery, limited edition apparently. Like I say, Brian Moncani, who is standing in for Stu Shelton tonight. Thank you. I did try my best. I'll always try, but it's not always spot on. Number 88 here, Marshall or Brucey Collins. I'll try and use the drivers' real names if I can. I might refer to them via their PSN names, but I'll try my best as we go along. But it looks like here Marshall running the 88 livery. Possibly, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's a tribute to Jimmy Johnson from the old NASCAR series. He will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of his liveries do tend to be based Jimmy Johnson wise, I have noticed in the past. Moz we've seen, we've got Aussie Rooster, Andrew Osler running in his typical Rooster style livery for tonight by the looks of things. Real Osman or Craig Thomas running the cat livery. This is one of the liveries I've actually made. He actually spotted it earlier on today and asked me just to slam his number on and share it for him, so I done so with pleasure, and I hope he does it well, does well in it for us tonight. Ickle Pants. Now I've seen this person, but I can't remember their name. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I think it's Mark Littlejohn. I think this is Mark Littlejohn. I will work it out as time goes on, but yes, I believe that is Mark Littlejohn running in a wonderful Jack Daniels number 7 livery for tonight. We've got William John Lane in a beautiful black and yellow Kodak livery, giving us a little wiggle there just as we go up towards the chicane at the top of the hill. Mistake Fake, obviously Nuno George running with the VLR livery, just outbraking himself a little bit there it seemed, but maybe just getting used to the hard tyres in the practice session before qualifying. LS Dino, Lee Dennington, who is a big player in the MVP side of things. I expect to see some very, very quick lap times from Lee tonight. I'd almost go out on a limb and put him down as the favourite to win probably this evening. Just have a quick look on what's been said. Sounds amazing on the stream. That's great to hear. Thank you, Andy. So all looking good. We've just had Collins drop out of the room. I did notice he was a little bit jumpy around in places, but yeah, well, maybe. There's Kim, it must mean that the kids are fast asleep, which is some good news. So yes, we've just lost Collins. I'm guessing, there we go, joined back in, just try and get rid of the issues that he's had. Like I say, I noticed a little bit of lag going on for him earlier on, so we'll jump down now with Darren Baldwin, who is running a Jamaican green and yellow style livery, and obviously nice and bright ESR. Jump back into the pits there, and we've got someone else here. I'm not sure who that one is. It's someone who's running the someone who's running the JTCC series, but Marshall's jumped back out again, unfortunately. Have we got anyone else here? We have. I'm going to have to put names on now. Try and remember which one all the infos are. There we are. So let's just jump back to there. Yes, BBA boss, or I'm hoping again I say this right, Rasmus Omrun, running in the BWT pink livery. Very loosely based, by the looks of it, on the old Force India Formula 1 livery. But I do believe there was a GT3 Porsche in the GT Championship that raced in similar colours. You might be able to prove me wrong, but yes, we'll see. We've got Biggie or Andy White, and it could be DHL, it could be something else. I can't see the side of the car at the moment, but a very bright and colourful entry for Andy. I think Kim's just kicked the table. She's rolling around in pain on the floor. You all right there? Ankle bone on the table. We've all been there. We know that hurts really, really badly. And I'm now being threatened with a kick in the ankle bone as well. So we've got a couple of latecomers here. We've got Popovich, who looks like he's actually running a livery I've just had from someone else. Stanovic. Yes, it is. So I'm guessing he's just nicked that one for tonight, or Stanovic's maybe made it for Popovich. We shall see. Let's go back, and we've got Adam Dykes here as well. I think it's Dykes. It might be Dyke. I do apologise if I get it wrong. And we've just caught Adam just in time for qualifying to start. So we've got 5-minute qualifying session. Obviously, the leader, the quickest time will go out onto pole position, followed by second, third, fourth. We have got a grid start here for tonight, which the grid start will have the jump start on as well. So it'll be very easy to jump start. Some people prefer using the brakes, some prefer the handbrake. We'll see who gets away nice and quickly. I'm not sure if Darren's gone full on with the pit exit line on the pit stops, but we'll try and catch that as the night goes on. Obviously, if you interfere with someone, then there's going to be a penalty, but we try to keep it as clean and tidy as possible. Just spotting Adam there, making a bit of room for himself in qualifying. Obviously, I haven't even said what track we're at tonight. I came so late. Oh, that's bruised up already, isn't it? Yes, we're at the wonderful Nürburgring, the same circuit used in the Formula 1 calendar. I will have a go at pronouncing names of the corners as we go along. Again, apologies if I do get any of them wrong. I'm not great. My German is appalling. But we'll have a go, and we'll see how things go. But at the moment, we will just stick around. It looks like Collins has got a few issues with internet. We know that there's been a few issues just leading up to tonight as well. The whole PlayStation Network and a load of other websites went down at around about 5 o'clock this evening. You've probably been affected in some way, shape or form from earlier on, but luckily we've got everything going. It looks like it's only Collins who's had a few issues this evening in loading up. But yes, we're at Nürburgring Grand Prix, and under qualifying, it looks like most of the field will probably get 2 laps, I think. Just having a look, just see if we can catch the last couple. Yeah, and he's probably going to get across the line in time to get 2 laps in, I would hazard a very good guess at, which is good news. Andy Dyke is there as well there, just giving Andy White a little bit of a tow. Let's jump back towards the front as they come down towards, I believe it's Ford Curve, this one, and they come out of the Ford Curves down towards Dunlop. Just try and get a quick look. The Crazy Brit, I'm guessing that is Marshall or Brucey Collins, who's having a little bit too much lag, unfortunately. Completely understand if you're having lag and dropping out, mate. Like you say, the last thing you want to do is a bit of lag and ruin someone's race. So completely understand that one. But we've got lead now coming up towards Kumo and Bit Curves, the chicane towards the top of the hill just before coming around. That's Kumo, and down through Bit Curve, down the long, I'm going to say straight because there is a corner there. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. It is fully German and I will get it wrong. But we come up here now to Vidal chicane. I do know that one. Through Vidal chicane and to the Coca-Cola curve. The final lap, the final corner of the lap, and Dino will come across the line to set the first time in qualifying just about now. Obviously he will go into pole position. BBA Boss just behind. Icklepants, Mark Littlejohn coming up into second place there, nice and early. Omran, or Moz actually jumping into third, Omran in fourth, Baldwin in fifth. Craig Thomas has come across the line, currently in sixth. Seventh is George. Eighth, hang on, no, White's just gone up in seventh. George in eighth, Osler in ninth, and Moncani has come across the line as well, currently in 10th. 11th William, 12th is Adam Dykes, who I'm guessing has had a warm-up lap first, and 13th is Popovich. So we will see how things go throughout the final lap of qualifying. So we, sorry, I'm just trying to attach the phone charger, which is suddenly started to run low, but I'm guessing that's because I've got all of your information coming through and all the text messages. We've got a VLR, so that'll be another George fan. Just try and sort out a way to get a decent plug. Yeah, here we go. Kim sorted it. As always, Kim's here to help me out. Not quite, actually. Hang on. We'll let Kim sort that one out as we now get to Lee Dennington now coming across the line. This is the final lap coming, or final chance to improve your time. Lee still, oh no, Mark Littlejohn has taken pole position by 0.3 of a second at the moment. Looks like, who have we got? Sorry. Who have we got behind? Darren hasn't managed to improve, unfortunately. They're all coming steaming across the line. Moncani's improved his time and pulled himself up into 6th place at the moment. It doesn't look like anyone else is going to affect the top order. Pop has improved his time, put himself into 12th. Thank you very much, my dear. No, that's fine. I can still see everyone's messages. So, looks pretty much like we have qualifying sorted. Adam's not managed to put a lap together. He's probably gone wrong somewhere, given the fact he's still ghosting. But it could be a strategical move, because both the medium and hard tyres must be used in tonight's race. With the hard tyre being used for a minimum of 5 laps. So a little bit of strategic side coming in. We'll see what happens. And we've got Mark Littlejohn from Dennington on pole. Mark Littlejohn on pole from Dennington. Moz, Omran, Baldwin, Moncani, Thomas, George, White, and everyone else obviously an hour's race, so we've got loads of time. Hopefully we won't see any issues into the first corner. The lights are on, they go off now, and the race is underway. And who's made a good start here? Looks like the top 6 have got away quite well, but Lee Dennington has got the best start of the lot, up into first place. We got Omran having a dive up the inside of Moz. It looks like everyone has got through turn number 1 absolutely fine, which is great to see, but it's Dennington who has the lead currently from Littlejohn in second place. Moz there taking third place back from Omran, and putting him just towards the clutches of Darren Baldwin there in 5th place. Moncani dropping back that little bit further in 6th, with a bit of a gap now to Thomas from Popovic, George, Lane, and then we've got White, Adam Dykes and Osler at the rear. He was a little bit unsure in practice, but all you've got to do is keep it on the black stuff in this endurance series. We go back up to the front and we see that Dennington is under a little bit of pressure from Littlejohn, but they are working well together and they're pulling that gap away from Omran, who's now got himself back up into 3rd place. Morris in 4th place, still with Baldwin in 5th. Moncani a little bit further back there in 6th place. Let's see if we can get some other info. There we go, that's the one we want. That one, and that one. Yeah, VLR is Nuno George here tonight. So as we come round to complete lap number 1, and about 2 minutes into the race already, we've got Dennington, who's defending hard and up against the pit wall, trying to break the slipstream here from Mark Littlejohn in 2nd place. Is he going to have a dive up the inside into the Castrol S? Not quite yet. It's called the Castrol S because usually, or the full circuit actually takes you off to the left very, very quickly there, but for the time being Lee has kept that position from Mark. Behind we have Omran and Moz battling away for 3rd place. Bit of a gap to Moncani. Oh, we've lost Baldwin somewhere. Where's Baldwin gone? Baldwin's dropped right to the rear of the field. Ah, he's already pitted. He's already pitted. That must be some sort of strategical move to pit that early already. I didn't actually catch what tyres he was on at the start. See if we can go back and find out. He had front end damage. That'll be the reason for it. Obviously with the damage on hard, it does make things a little bit harder for everyone taking part. Because obviously the damage will stick with you. That little bit of front end damage might seem very, very minimal, but it will have a major impact on the wear of those front tyres. So we go back to the front and we've got Dennington still holding off Mark Littlejohn in 2nd place. 3rd is Omran, who's coming under more and more pressure from Moz. Moz actually feints to the inside of the Vidal chicane. Brakes that little bit later. Can he get it stopped and turned in time? Just about, but he's going to come under a bit of pressure up to the Coca-Cola curve, but he has secured the position at the moment ahead of Rasmus Omran, and that puts Moz up into 3rd place. 5th we have Brian Moncani, who is under increasing pressure from Craig Thomas there in the Cat Porsche behind. And behind both of those is Popovic here, waiting and hoping for that little mistake. Thomas has a dive towards the inside but thinks better of it down into the Castrol S. Behind them we've got Andy White, who's under more and more pressure from George here for 8th and 9th place. 10th we have a 3-way battle between Osler, what we've got, Osler, Lane and Adam Dykes in 12th place. So 10th, 11th, 12th all covered by a bed sheet, for want of a better term. Dykes there spending the penalty, just dropping off from the rear of Lane, but he's going to put more and more pressure now onto Osler. And then in 13th we've got Darren Baldwin, who's recovering after the early mishap with a little bit of damage, but he'll fight his way back, I'm sure. Back to the front, and the two are still battling. Littlejohn from Dennington, or Dennington from Littlejohn at the moment. They come up through Kumo and Big Curve, I believe they are at currently on lap number 3, and down the straight once again through the little kink, and Mark has that little look towards the outside, a little bit of contact, but they just about keep it fair. Mark is up the inside, is he? No, thinks better of it into the Vidal chicane, and will regroup and re-attack on the next lap. As they come round the Coca-Cola curve, Dino will put another lap in the book of leading, but he will be under immense pressure now from Mark down the main straight in the slipstream down towards the Castrol S. Can he do anything about it? Behind we can see that Moncani's pulled out a little bit of a gap over Thomas. Mark has a little think about going down the inside, but thinks better of it again. He knows where he's at, a little bit stronger over Lee, so we'll concentrate back to the points that he's at a little bit stronger, although he runs wide that little bit there coming out of turn 2, and it costs him that little bit of time. Behind we've got Moz, who's now put a bit of a gap towards 4th place Ombrun. 5th is Moncani still, who's still under a little bit of pressure from Thomas. 7th is Popovic, pushing really hard now to try and catch up. 8th place is now George, who's actually coming under a bit of pressure from Osler, who's managed to pull away from the likes of Lane as well in 10th. 11th is Adam Dykes. 13th is Andy White, who's got some damage there on the hard tyres. I would hazard a guess that he's been off somewhere to have dropped back from the position he was in. He was originally up there fighting with who was he fighting with? He was fighting with George earlier on, but that damage will whether or not he can carry on driving through that damage, the car will be pulling that little bit with the damage, so we will have to wait and see. And then obviously Darren Baldwin at the rear, who will fight his way back up. We'll go back up to the front, back up towards the Vidal chicane, and sure enough, Littlejohn, or Mark, has caught Lee up again, and then bumper to bumper yet again, the two of them for 1st and 2nd place. Mark just that little bit behind, taking a wider line, hoping to get the power down that little bit earlier. Down the start and finish straight, another lap in the books. That's 4 down now as we approach nearly 8 minutes into the race already. Both of the drivers, I believe, yes, are on the medium tyres, showing a little bit of wear. Actually, Lee's used that little bit less fuel compared to Mark, which is surprising, because Mark will have the bonus of the slipstream where he could save that little bit more fuel. So to use the extra fuel is quite interesting. They're about the same on tyre wear, so Lee's actually looking in a slightly better position here over Mark at the moment, but time will tell. Like I say, we've still got 51.5 minutes to go. 3rd place we still have Morris, but he is catching the two leaders, so this could pan out into a very interesting race towards the end. He's actually got... Has he got slightly better? Not really, no. He's certainly got worse fuel consumption though, so it's a bit offsetting, but obviously if he can catch up and get that little bit of a slipstream from the two guys in front, his fuel consumption will come down. And I know Gareth, he's very good at saving his fuel from the JTCC series, so he'll be one to watch. Don't count him out just yet, but at the moment we've got Lee and Mark still fighting it out, still pushing hard between the two of them. Back up towards the Vidal chicane, and Lee thinks about defending the line, then takes up his original racing line. Very, very close between the two of them. Over and through the chicane, and Dennington still has that lead, but Mark is closing more and more. He loves the last section. It's that last sector Mark seems to be quicker than everyone else in. Lee pulls over towards the pit wall, trying to break that slipstream, and Mark just follows him almost like a shadow in the early stages there, down towards the Castrol S turn again, and again we see that first sector, that first corner, Lee seems to be that little bit more confident on the brakes into the first corner, just opens up that gap that little bit. Like I say, third we've got Morris, who does seem to be closing, but is a slightly worse position fuel wise. Omran in fourth, who's better on fuel, so whether or not that's the reason he's dropped back from Morris, time will tell. Fifth we now have Craig Thomas in the Cat Porsche, and he seems to be closing in a little bit quicker on Omran as well in fourth place, now that he's got past Brian Moncani, who's dropped down to sixth, and he's coming under more and more pressure from Popovic in seventh place, who's racing hard. He's actually about the same sort of fuel consumption as Moncani in front. Eighth place we have George, doing very well in his VLR livery. I know he's got a few supporters watching online at the moment. Osler in ninth place, who has just dropped back that little bit this time from George, but still running well, a lot better than I think he was expecting to be doing. Lane there in 10th place. 11th we've got White, who's continuing on with the damage and doing a good job with it as well on the hard tyres, so fair play to Andy White for continuing. Darren Baldwin's got himself up into 12th place for now, and we see Adam Dykes in the pits already. Is he taking on fuel there by the looks of it, or has he just parked up for the time being? Time will tell, but he's sat in the pit lane. Let's go back out. It's actually putting a lap down, Adam, now, because Lee and Mark and Gareth have all come past the start and finish line and down into turn number one already. Lee now just eking out that gap that little bit. How's the fuel consumption looking between the two? Yeah, Lee is just that little bit better off yet again from Mark in second place. Gareth on half a tank now, so he is a lot worse off on the fuel side of things, but he is closing. This is the key thing. Do you want to close in, burn that fuel up, the lights flash that little bit as he comes through the camera zone, and yeah, there's definitely a closing of gap there for Gareth in third. Omran certainly better on fuel compared. He's more on target with the lead two than he is with Morris on fuel in fourth place. Fifth, Craig Thomas, again about half a tank, so he's on the same sort of fuel strategy as Morris. That could be the difference between a lap or a lap's difference in the pit strategy, but time shall tell on that one. Moncani again a little bit better on the fuel. You can see there just a little bit over half a tank on the medium tyres. Popovic pushing hard again on the medium tyres. George just under, so he's really pushing it now, trying to close that gap onto Popovic, and to me it looks like he is doing a good job there in doing just that. Ninth place we've got Andrew Osler, and he's actually in a slightly better position than George on the fuel, so again it might just be that extra lap that pays dividends, and who knows what that'll do later on strategy wise. The first runner on the hard tyres is William John Lane, who, I keep saying William John Lane, it's William Lane John I believe is his middle name, but I'm just so used to calling him William John Lane from years of racing with him. He's in 10th, but he is the first of the hard compound runners. Behind is Andy White, also on the hard tyres, doing a fantastic job as that car continues to pull to the left with that damage. I'm sure we'll get that sorted out in the first pit stop that he makes in a bit. And Darren Baldwin up to 11th, so I would say someone else has just jumped. Yeah, Popovic into the pits, making a very early stop onto the hard tyres and filling up, and it looks like unfortunately our first retirement will be Adam Dykes, who is still sat in pit lane unfortunately. back to the front battle, and certainly we just caught there a glimpse of Gareth Morris, who's really caught up with the lead 2 in Dennington and Mark Littlejohn, but he's behind Morris is definitely catching. It is costing him fuel though, so we shall have to see what happens, but certainly the lead 2 still battling it out very, very hard together. But let's have a check on the fuel. Yeah, again, Dennington just that little bit better off on the fuel. They come up to the Vidal chicane again. Mark has another little look, and I just wonder if Lee's playing a bit of a strategic game here and just holding them up, pushing them back towards Morris. And that will just give Mark that little bit of extra something to think about with Morris behind them. It'll give him the chance to pull away that little bit up front. We shall see. And we've got Rasmus Omren doing a wonderful job in 4th place, all out on his own pretty much, as the charge from behind from Thomas seems to have come to a bit of a stalemate at the moment. And Thomas struggling by the looks of it just to close up that gap that little bit more. Moncani there in 6th place, doing a good job as well, holding his position there in 6th. With Popovic pitting earlier on, that's put George up into 7th place. 8th is now Andrew Osler. Those tyres are just starting to wear on the medium runners that little bit higher. 9th now is William John Lane on the hard tyres, now starting to show that little bit of wear, but should see the whole fuel tank through. And Lane coming under a bit of pressure there from Andy White in 10th place. 11th is Darren Baldwin, who's recovering quite well actually. I think he's catching the 2 in front, but obviously with that early pit stop for damage, it's obviously going to see him under a bit of pressure, with Popovic just a little bit further behind now, having made his first pit stop, now running the hard tyres in 12th place. Back to the lead 2 again, and Lee's still sucking up all the pressure that Mark's throwing at him. Mark's got that slipstream up towards Vidal again, braking a little bit earlier, back up onto the rear bumper there for Mark. Still no way through at all. Certainly now Gareth's coming into shot more and more as we look at these two battling away back down the start-finish straight once again, and the 9th lap in the books. Back down into turn number 1 again. Mark thinks about having the look, but thinks better of it, tries to get the better exit, a little bit loose on the exit, a little bit too much acceleration, spinning those worn rear tyres up, but it didn't seem to cost him too much time. That's the main thing. And Mark is that little bit closer this time round to Lee coming through turn number 3. And it's going to put that little bit of pressure as we come towards the area that Mark seems to be a little bit more favoured over Lee. But it's definitely this battle here for the lead is definitely costing them time, as we see Morris now closing up further and further. But the fuel is going to make a massive difference. There's probably 1 or maybe even 2 laps now of fuel extra in the tank between the two of them. We'll have another quick. Actually, no, we won't, because we know this is the area that Mark's a little bit quicker through, as they come up first to the Schumacher S's, a very, very quick section of track, actually designed by Michael Schumacher at this track. So it was an area he wanted to be quick as a possible overtaking opportunity, but not affecting the flow of the circuit. I'm called boring, but it's a little bit of knowledge that one of those bits of knowledge is that I know from years of Formula 1 watching. Mark yet again on the bumper of Lee, thinks better of having a dive up the inside through Vidal chicane again, and still unable to do anything about Lee's position at the front of the field. Morris now definitely closing right in as Omran continues to look after the tyres, look after the fuel that bit better. in 4th place, Thomas in 5th in the cat livery, Moncani in 6th, that little bit better on fuel to Thomas. 7th place is George. Again, he's burning through that fuel to Moncani, so but it's pulling him up towards Moncani, which in turn will give him the slipstream and everything. So it'll be certainly become an interesting battle here, as we have, who's this coming into the pit lane now? What we've got? We've got Lane there now in 8th place, still doing well on the hard tyres. Baldwin up into 9th place now. 10th is Popovich, who, like we already know, has made his pit stop. Osler there in the pits, that's who was coming into the pits. Those tyres were very badly worn, getting a full tank of fuel, and Andy White is doing the same thing as well. Full tank of fuel, get that damage repaired, which will do him the world of good. And that's the damage repaired, and he's away and back at it. Has he made the jump on Osler? Not quite, but certainly now Andy will be able to push that a little bit harder with the repaired car. Back to the battle at the front, and yet again Lee and Mark battling hard up to Vidal chicane, and Mark seems quite content, just sat there behind, plotting, planning, learning every little area that he's that bit stronger over Dennington on. They come round the Coca-Cola curve to complete yet another lap. That's lap number 11 into the books, and Morris is now definitely catching these three. It's soon going to become a three-way battle, but Morris now probably has about 1 lap left of fuel, where Dennington and Littlejohn probably have another, probably 2 laps. So I'll go out on a limb and I'll say 2 laps left of fuel. Whether or not Morris decides to pit early and try and get an undercut on the better tyres, or fresher tyres, not forgetting they still have to run those hard compound tyres, all 3 of these at the front. They've got to run it for a minimum of 5 laps, which is going to be just under 10 minutes. So you have got the opportunity. We've been going now, what, 23 minutes? You could pit now, another 23 minutes on the medium tyres, and then maybe the last stint on the hard tyres, which would take you to the end of the race. So that could be the strategy that all 3 of these are looking at, but we shall see as time goes on. As we see, Mark seems to have the little bit better exit out of Dunlop up towards the Schumacher S. Neither of the drivers going out too wide, looking to use the launch curb that is on the outer edge there. Certainly now Lee's having to defend that a little bit more. You can just see him taking the tighter line into the corners, just slowing him down that little bit at the apex, and that's allowing Mark to obviously catch up, put that bit of pressure on, and ultimately it's allowing Morris behind these 2 to catch up even further. I've really got to work out what the lights on the side of the cars mean. I think that's how many laps worth of fuel they have left. As sure enough, we see Gareth Morris now take to the pit lane. Let's see how many lights he's got. He's got all... oh, he's messed up. He's gone wide. He's caught the end of the pit barrier. Just cost him that little bit of extra time, and obviously damaged the front end. He's going to have that repaired in the pits, and that's going to cost him all the time that he's gained on the lead 2. That's going to put him right back towards the others, and possibly into the clutches of BBA Boss or Rasmus Omren here. We've lost Popovic, unfortunately, as well, who's had to drop out. Possibly some internet connection related issue. Like I said earlier, we have had some issues with PSN before the round started. But now Omran now up into 3rd place. 4th now is Brian Moncani, as obviously Thomas would have had to have pitted at the same time. Morris now comes out into 5th place. George also in the pits, apparently 6th, but I know Thomas has actually pitted earlier. He's already been in, and he's got the hard tyre on. He's short fueled it as well, so I'm going to hazard a guess he's going to go purely for the 5 laps. pit and then get those medium tyres back on as early as he possibly can. Sure enough, yes, I've just had confirmation there. Just had confirmation there that Popovic got disconnected. Dean, I apologise, I had the lower section on so we could see what everyone's tyres were running. I will probably flick between the two, but yes, there we are. That's the leaders board there. Yet again, Dino and I say Dino, it's Dennington, isn't it? And Mark both fighting it out through Vito chicane, both pitting at the same time. Are they going to make the same mistake as Morris did? They just keep it that little bit tighter, not running wide, not catching the outer barrier. But Dino, Lee Dennington, just catches the barrier on the exit of the pit entry. So will the game inadvertently slow him down that little bit for that? We'll have to check. As BBA boss Rasmus Omren continues and gets another lap of fuel. Has he actually got the fuel there to do another lap? Yes, he has. He's saved that superbly. Absolutely brilliant there from Omren to save that fuel and get an extra lap. Moncani up to second place, and sure enough, Mark does get the jump. Now, is that because of short fueling? He has only got half a tank of fuel in, whereas, yeah, Lee's gone that little bit further. So yeah, Mark's got the jump on Lee purely through short fueling. So there's going to be a massive change in strategy here between the two of them. Both now onto the hard tyre, but in the meantime we've got Omren in the lead, who will be pitting probably at the end of this lap on exceptionally worn medium tyres. But he's doing well. 7-second lead over Moncani, who's in second place, and he will definitely be pitting at the end of this lap. Otherwise, he's not going to make it. He won't make another lap of on that fuel. He'll be quite lucky actually to make the end of this lap. He will be coming under more and more pressure from Littlejohn in third place. Fourth is Dennington, having been jumped by Littlejohn in the pits. Fifth, Morris, 4.4 seconds back from Dennington after the mistake at pit entry. Sixth now, 19 seconds back, but on the hard tyres is Craig Thomas. Seventh, George. Eighth, Osler, who's coming under a little bit more pressure to White. Now White's got that repair work done on the left-hand side. That's certainly helped him, and certainly catching him up that little bit to Osler. In 10th place we have Lane, who is doing very, very well, and only 5.5 seconds back from White, so doing very, very well there. And then we've got Baldwin, who's 6 seconds back from Lane. Has he been back into the pits as yet? Yes, by the looks of it, he has been back in for a new set of boots as well. So sure enough, we've got Moncani, who is now in the pit lane, and that puts Mark Littlejohn up into second place, and Dennington now in third. He's maintaining the gap to Mark Littlejohn, so we'll see how things go. But certainly, for Omren to get to nearly half race distance on this set of tyres and this fuel, that is a fantastic job. Is he going to try and do the same on the hard tyres, I wonder? It could bring him into play massively. This could be an outstanding strategical move from Omren. Obviously, that losing that little bit of time now, but with Littlejohn on the fresher tyres, you'd expect him to be catching. But this could be a very, very, very interesting strategical move by Omren to certainly bring him up into play for the lead of the race. Behind Dennington, we've got Moz, about 4.5 seconds back still. He will be ruining that mistake, but we shall see if he can do anything about it. Thomas about 21, nearly 22 seconds back from his good friend Morris, and I think it's pretty much going to see the top 4 unless there's some major strategic move from Thomas coming. He is 10 seconds ahead of George in 6th place. 7th is it's a 3-way battle. Lights flashing there, so we'll just pop back and see if there's anything going on, or a little bit over the curb and a little bit of argy-bargy. We'll try and go back that a little bit further. Moncani obviously not happy about something, a late move there, and obviously just being over the curb just unsettles Andy White, just put him into Moncani, but nothing malicious there, I don't think, with the intention or the overtake there. But the 3 of them there looking to close down on George. So we've now got White in 7th place, Osler now up into 8th, and Moncani down into 9th, as he hasn't picked up any damage, but he's running the hard tyres. Medium on Osler, medium on Andy White, so that's why we can see these guys actually pulling away that little bit from Moncani. 10th is still William, and he's slowly being caught by Darren Baldwin there in 11th place. That early pit stop for damage really affecting his race, unfortunately, and he'll be certainly hoping for better luck next time, next week round. And Adam there still sat in the pits, unfortunately, looking at retirement. Or I could be wrong, it could just be my console playing up, and he's actually driving around somewhere. I don't know. We have seen that before. It likes a Goodwood for little glitches, but hopefully Adam's circulating and it's just a glitch on my end. But in the meantime, you've got Mark Littlejohn, who is doing a holding job at the moment, but just losing that little bit of ground now to Lee in 2nd place. The hard tyres obviously showing a bit better wear, but between the 2 of them there is a big strategy difference, about 1/4 of a tank of fuel, so Lee might be going that little bit longer. And there we go, Adam unfortunately now has left the room, so yeah, I would imagine he's been sat in pit lane. In 3rd place is Morris, still about 4 seconds. He does seem to be catching. Is he on the better tyres? No, he's on the hard tyres as well, so he's going all guns blazing after the lead 2 and trying to make amends for the mistake into pit lane. He certainly won't be doing that when he puts the pits and puts the medium tyres on next time round. How's his fuel looking? He's a little bit less. Again, he'll be in about 1-2 laps before Mark will be, but certainly he'll be looking at doing the undercut on the likes of Lee Dennington. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. The undercut could be on for Morris. So like I say, we've got Littlejohn in 1st place, who's just extended his advantage again round that 3rd sector like we saw earlier on from Dennington. In 2nd place, Morris in 3rd, Thomas there 24.5 seconds back in 4th place, and then we've got BBA boss Rasmus Omren, who has switched to the hard tyres. He's filled it full of fuel, so do keep an eye on him. I do think he's going to come into play towards the end of this race. Given he managed to do half the race distance on those hard tyres earlier, on the medium tyres earlier, he's certainly going to get these hard tyres to the end, and he's full of fuel. He's not going to have to pit again, so do not count Omran out of this race yet. I reckon he will be within. He'll be in with a shout. I reckon he'll be leading once the leaders pit again, but then it will be down to tyre wear. So we'll see, but Omran is one to watch, certainly. 6th place.
I'm sorry if I was lagging. I started grasping and you were lagging. It goes worse, so I'm back
Oh, didn't actually see you lagging at all, Adam, but that's fine. Completely understand that one. So Osman's actually pitted, which will promote George up into 5th place, who's coming under more and more pressure now from Andy White in 6th place. Will Andy look for a late move down into the Castrol S? No, thinks better of it. A little bit too far back, really. Let's be completely honest. But George now coming under more and more pressure from White in 6th place. 7th is Andrew Osler, a little bit on his own there, but striving on well. He was a little bit unsure about how his pace would be after practice a couple of nights ago, but he's doing well. Moncani there in 8th place, hunting down Osler, and a little bit further back is Darren Baldwin. 10th we have the returning Thomas after his second pit stop. Now onto the medium tyres, got rid of the hards, and William has just exited the pit lane and he's now on the hard tyres. That'll be him set ready for the end of the race. Back to the front, and Little John has got himself about an extra 2/10 of a second lead over Dennington in 2nd place. Moz now into the pits. He's decided that's enough for the hard tyres. Probably fuel also having a major say in that one. But and that'll be the medium tyres now to be fitted, I would say, to Morris. We'll stick with a bit of a view with Omra and see where he comes out in relation to Morris, because my guess is Omran's on it now till the end of the race. Morris obviously pitting now, tyres now being changed, a little bit of scuffing on the front bumper. He's going to need to fill that full of fuel, and sure enough Omran comes round and will take 3rd place away from Morris. But tyres and everything is going to be the big part to play here towards the end of the race. Moz dropping down the order more and more and more. He goes down to where's he come out to? Moz has come out in 4th place at just ahead of Andy Whiteler. That has paid off superbly. That is almost F1 style strategy there. Right out in front, right out into the clean air, on the cleaner tyres, the fresher tyres, full of fuel, and only 5.5 seconds now behind Omran, who will be looking 38 seconds to Dennington, and it'll be what, 40 odd seconds to Mark in 1st place, who's lost that little bit of time now to Dennington in 2nd place. How's his fuel looking? He will be in this lap. So Mark comes in towards the pit. On pit entry from Mark, no, it will allow Dennington to have that chance to take the lead of the race. Sure enough, he stays out, and let's now keep on Omran. Where does he filter in with Mark over the race, and the strategy move? 41.3 seconds at this point behind Mark. That is going to be an awful lot, but Mark's now being fueled as Omran comes through the Vidal chicane. Luckily I can flick between the two. Mark's still in pit lane. Omran's come round the Coca-Cola curve. Mark's underway. It's going to be anyone's guess who comes through. Oh, Mark has got that position over Omran, so it hasn't quite played out right for him, unfortunately, but he won't have to fuel save. That's the main thing now. How much fuel did Mark put in? He filled it right up, so he should get to the end of this race without any fuel saving. So that will certainly put him ahead of Omran, I would say, certainly by the end of the race. Behind Morris is really closing the gap, already 2 seconds from when we last looked. We'll pop forward and see Dennington, who is still looking good on fuel. I reckon he might stay out for another couple of laps. See if he can just push this that little bit further, keep it, and be able to push it right the way to the end. I highly doubt he'll be coming into the pits on this lap. So just make sure he goes past pit exit, or pit entrance, sorry, and sure enough he does, and we'll flick down through the field. So we've got Dennington in first place on the hard tyres currently. Behind him is Mark Littlejohn, now on the medium tyres, a full tank of fuel. He will be going to the end of the race, 35 seconds behind, so he'll probably come away with about 5-second lead, but he will have the worst tyres towards the end of the race. 4.5, nearly 5 seconds back is Rasmus Omren in third place, who is on the hard tyres, and I reckon he's going to the end of the race as well. Behind him is Gareth Morris, medium tyres, full tank of fuel-ish. He's going to the end of the race, and he's reeling Omren in, so my guess will be Morris certainly finishing on the podium by the end of the race. Fifth place now, Andy White, just coming into pit lane, and he'll be looking to change tyres, get off the mediums. I'm not sure if he's run the hards as yet, so that put George up into fifth place. Moncani just a couple of seconds behind in sixth place. Baldwin doing a fantastic recovery job now, up into seventh place. How's he looking fuel wise? He will have to pit again, I would hazard a guess at looking at that, but that'll be a quick splash and dash, new set of medium compound tyres in, and away he will go. Thomas there about 8 seconds further back from Baldwin, but I think looking at his stats, he's probably, yeah, he's fueled to the end there on the medium tyres as well. Ninth place is it's actually Andy White. He has come out in front of Osler. Andy now with the medium compound tyre. I think he started on the hards, didn't he? So Andy will be fueled to the end, and he is 2.5 seconds in front of Osler, who again, hard tyres, yeah, 3/4 tank fuel. I would say he's going to the end of the race as well on that. We've got Dino in the pits, or Deno in the pits. I say Dino. Why do I say Dino? Dennington in the pits now. We'll jump backwards and forwards between Lee in the pit lane and Mark here coming up to the Vidal chicane. Mark is certainly going to have this lead back. How's the tyre wear looking? He's already got a little bit of wear on the tyres. Dennington already getting fueled, the tyres already changed. Mark is going to come across the line now, and he will certainly take the lead. Dennington's away, he's short fueled, and he's actually kept the track position. It must be a short fuel stop. It is a short fuel stop. I suppose the little bit of extra fuel has given him that shorter pit stop time. So will he have to do much fuel saving? Let's check between the two. There might have to be a little bit of fuel saving there for Dennington just to finish this race. He's a little bit worse off to Mark Littlejohn. Third place is Omren, but he is now under immense pressure from Gareth Morris, who is certainly on the better tyres, certainly on the quicker tyres, and Omren trying to get these hard tyres to the end of the race. Probably won't put up too much of a fight, knowing that he's going to be almost a sitting duck coming out of Dunlop. As you can just see the leaders down in Dunlop now coming out of Dunlop in the distance. Sure enough, Morris breezes on past down just into the braking zone. Omren almost giving that position up, I would say, but a very, very clever move, I think, and good strategic move has certainly secured fourth place for Omren in the race, barring any difficulties, because we've always got that wonderful commentator's curse. Fifth place is Brian Moncani, doing very well. How's he looking? I would say he's going at race end. Behind Brian is Baldwin, who's recovered brilliantly after the early pit stop, but again he'll be into the pits this lap, and that will drop him back down through the field, unfortunately. Seventh place is Craig Thomas, who's about 6.5, I'm going to say 7 seconds behind Moncani, so be interested to see if he can do anything about it on the run-up in the last 15.5 minutes. Quick swig of drink, wet me whistle again, and back to the leaders. We have a 2.8 second lead for Dennington. We'll just I'll jump back and catch up the end of the field. Moncani's into the pits. I didn't expect Moncani to actually pit again. That's an interesting one. I thought Moncani would be going to the end. So he and Baldwin are both in the pits. That's put Thomas up into 5th place. Will Andy White be able to take advantage maybe and get himself up into 6th at the same sort of time? And sure enough, he has jumped, as has George. Not quite, but yes, yeah, he has. He's got himself out in front of Moncani, who is now in 7th. George just behind him, but Moncani obviously going to be on the fresher tyres. Medium tyres as well. He'll be on to the end of the race. 9th is Osler. 10th is Baldwin, now set and ready for the end of the race. And in 11th place is Lane, who's done a fantastic job. I think coming a little bit unprepared, almost like a last-minute addition, but done brilliantly well given the strategic nature required. And will certainly at least bring this home in 11th place for himself. Back up to the front, and let's get the gaps up. Still 2.8, 2.9 seconds. So Dino's doing a very, very good job at the moment. Whether or not he's got the fuel to get to the end of the race, I'm not so sure. Looking at the race times, or the lap times, 1:56 is Dennington's best time. So 1:56, we're looking at nearly 2 minutes a lap. 6, 7, yeah, about 7 laps to go, I would say, in the race. So 31 laps. It's going to be, it could be touch and go for Dennington here on fuel. Second place, obviously, Mark Littlejohn, and we know he's fueled well. Morris, he's dropping further and further back. I'm going to hazard a guess he's decided to settle for second place. Let's see how he is. Yeah, he's more on the same sort of strategy as Dennington, so I would say he's looking at holding that little bit of fuel and settled himself for third place in tonight's race. Try and catch up on some of the chat that's been going on. Bruno Boschka, thank you very much, mate. I'll try my best. It's first endurance I've done, so we're getting there slowly. Dean, okay, yes, you missed the start. No worries. But yeah, it's kept around about the qualifying sort of times, but as you know full well, it's a tricky situation, the old endurance side of things. But yes, it could be a very close end, I think, between these two. Dino he's actually extending that lead, so whether or not he is having to fuel save, I'm not so sure. Six-ish laps remaining. No, it could be pushed to 7 laps from here. And with the fuel, Mark Littlejohn is looking very, very good. Dennington, half a tank of fuel. I can't remember how much a tank's doing. BBA Boss managed to get half an hour out of it. So very, very tight. It is going to be very, very tight. That's because the PlayStation's going. Behind Morris, we've got Omran in 4th place, a fairly solid looking 4th place, doing a fantastic job on the fuel management side. Now he has, we know Omran's had to fuel manage, and he's got under half a tank of fuel left, and he's having to fuel save. We know he's having to fuel save to get to his half-hour distance. So that could put Dennington into a very, very tricky position where he's going to have to fuel save a little bit later on. But time will tell. Time will tell. 15 seconds behind Omron is Craig Thomas in the Cat diesel power Porsche. Of course it's a Porsche, everyone's running a Porsche. But yes, he seems to have pretty much a very, very settled 5th position here. Barring any major mistakes, I would say he's got 5th position sewn up there. 6th position is Andy White, who's coming under a bit of pressure now from Moncani, who's made the late pit stop, the late switch onto the medium tyres, and he'll be looking for a little bit of sweet revenge from the earlier overtake that he was a little bit unhappy about at this very corner here. No, sorry, it wasn't in the Schumacher S's, was it? It was a little bit further on at Kumo, where Andy chucked it up the inside, just got on the curb, and it pushed him out into the side of Moncani. But time will tell whether or not he can close this gap. He's certainly closing it up that little bit to Andy White. In 8th place, we've got Nuno George, doing a very, very good job here, and looks like just pulling that little bit away from Darren Baldwin in 9th place, who should be on the hard tyres. That should see him to the end. Is George in a slightly better position on mediums, slightly worn mediums, but he's on the harder tyres, softer tyre. It's the quicker tyre, so we shall see. Osler there in 10th place, doing a very, very good job as well. Hard tyres, so we shall see how they go. Could be a position or two towards the end of the race that he might be able to catch up on. But back to the front, and Dennington's doing a fantastic job eking this out to 3.4 seconds now over Mark Littlejohn. But I can't help but think that his fuel might not get there. Looking at 1 minute 56 roughly a lap, and yeah, something just doesn't quite seem to add up. I don't think he's going to get there. I could be completely wrong. But if he does, then fair play. But he eking this out now in the early stages. What are we? 2 minutes a lap, possibly 4 laps to go. He should be all right now, surely. Don't tell me that that Mark's made a big mistake in over-fueling here. Surely not. That would just be unbelievable bad luck on the strategy side for Mark if that's the case. But at the moment we've got Dennington in first place, 3.5 seconds ahead of Littlejohn. Certainly got second wrapped up, barring a mistake, as he's nearly 13 seconds ahead of Gareth Morris now in third place, who's opened up the gap to Omron now to 10 seconds. He still has a 15.5 second lead over Gareth Thomas in 5th. This is where the battle is going to be towards the end of the race, certainly, I think, as White and Moncani battle it out for 6th and 7th place. And I don't think this battle will finish quietly. A little bit deep there from Moncani into Castrol. Just cost him that little bit of time. He'll have to regroup, clean up those tyres that little bit through the marbles on them, just through running that little bit wide. You can just see the car just struggling to turn that little bit there as they come through the Mercedes arena section and out onto the RTL straight down towards the Ford curve now. And he's now closing that gap back up to Andy White, and certainly the battle is not over for 6th place here as they go down towards Dunlop, the Dunlop hairpin at the bottom end of the circuit. Harder onto the brakes, closes that gap up onto White. He's on the fresher tyres, is Moncani, so he'll certainly have the advantage if he gets half a chance. Up through the Schumacher S's, up towards the Kumo curve. You can see White just seemed that little bit loose there going into Kumo, through bit curve now and back down the hill. Again, I'm not going to attempt the name of this corner because it's a full-on German name, and there's no way am I going to be able to pronounce it correctly. But this battle certainly is not over. I think, yeah, Andy was a little bit deep into the corner there, and it's certainly given Moncani a chance. Andy having a look at the wider line coming through Coca-Cola curve. Yeah, Andy coming through the Coca-Cola curve that little bit wider. A line better used by Daniel Ricciardo and Mark Webber, if memory serves me right, in Formula 1. Tight into Castrol for Andy, just holding Moncani off at the moment. Let's just have a very quick look back up at the front. Oh, and the gap's started to come down. The gap has started to come down. It's over a second it's come down. Is this Dennington having to save that little bit of fuel, or has he made a mistake? I do wonder. But we are now going to have to keep an eye on this. It's come down by nearly a second. 2.6 seconds now is the gap between Dennington and Littlejohn. So who knows where this could end with just over 4 minutes left. Very, very interesting. But go back to the battle for 6th and 7th, and yet again Moncani is still on the rear bumper of Andy White, up towards the Schumacher S's coming out of Dunlop. And he just looks to hold his position at front end, just not quite sticking as well through the far section. But Dennington's lost another quarter of a second. That gap's really coming down. Is Dennington struggling on fuel? He shouldn't be. There's 2 laps left. There's plenty of fuel there, surely. Unless he's trying to just eke out that the time to make sure it's only 2 and not 3 laps more. I don't know, but in the last lap he's lost over half a second to Littlejohn. Given that Littlejohn's tyres are more worn, something is going on. I think Dennington is having to just eke it back that little bit, just to make sure that the fuel doesn't change. The fuel lasts to the end of the race. What are we? 1 minute 56-ish seconds. 1 minute 58 was his last lap. He was doing 1 minute 56s earlier, so 1 minute 58. Let's keep an eye on that time. It's certainly going to be 2 more laps after this. 2 more laps at the end of this tour, and it's down to 1.7. Mark can sniff a victory here. This battle's not over, and I just wonder, has Moncani pushed the tyres a little bit too much in the battle against Andy White? Andy's on worn tyres, and he's on better fuel. Moncani's going to have to just watch it on fuel. That's possibly why he's dropped back. So in the meantime, we'll jump back to the lead of the race. We'll try and keep an eye on both. The leaders battle down to 1 second now, almost. Moncani, Moncani's picked up a penalty, and that will cost him the chance to battle for 6th place. Morris in 3rd, Omran in 4th, Thomas in 5th. White now, I think, has got 6th place secured over Moncani. George in 8th, and probably safe there as well. Baldwin in 9th, Osler in 10th, and Lane in 11th. So the interesting piece for the final lap and a half is going to be between Deno and Littlejohn, and whether or not Littlejohn can actually close right up onto Dennington and see if he can make a last-ditch move on the final lap, because that's when it's going to be. Mark is pushing every possible little inch he can out of the car. We know how close these two are. on the track. I do think Dennington's tried to actually back this up and make it so that this is the last lap. He's not going to, unfortunately, with 40 seconds left. There's going to be one more lap, and it is going to give Littlejohn a chance to take the battle onto the last lap. Littlejohn really is pushing hard. He can see how close he is. He knows how short a time he's got, but he has brought that gap down. It's now down to 1.1 seconds. He's now got the slipstream down the start and finish straight. It is anyone's guess. Let's just check. Yeah, Andy has got 6th place wrapped up by the looks of it. Dennington now trying to eke out that distance. Morris has crossed the line in 3rd place. 4th will be Omran as he comes round the Coca-Cola curve. And I'll just try and keep an eye on the two. See him crossing the line and the battle at the front. Omran comes across the line to finish in 4th place. Dennington just about eking that gap out, that little bit extra. Should just about secure him the victory here as we catch Gareth Thomas coming across the line for 5th place. 6th place will be Andy White, who's managed to hold off Moncani. Moncani almost drifting the car through the final corner, maybe in a little bit of anger there, but White in 6th. 7th was Moncani. 8th has been a fantastic drive from Nuno George in 8th. 9th, Darren Baldwin. 10th, it will be Andrew Osler. It looks like Mark's tyres have finally given up the ghost, and he will not be able to push any more in the battle with Dennington. It looks like Dennington's going to take victory in race number 1 here. Osler comes across the line to finish in 10th place, and Lane done a fantastic job in closing up towards Osler there for 11th place. We go back to the entrance to the Coca-Cola curve, and we see Lee Dennington coming round the final time. He will be absolutely ecstatic with victory here in race number 1, completely outdoing Mark on the strategy side, and doing a fantastic job to take a 1.6 second victory this time round. So sure enough, Mark Littlejohn will finish in 2nd, and it's Lee Dennington takes victory in race number 1. Let's grab the replay, and then we will have a good look at the results. Lee Dennington there in 1st place, 1.6 seconds ahead of Mark Littlejohn. Gareth Morris there, unfortunately unable to complete the extra lap, but Gareth Morris takes 3rd place. 4th place was Rasmus Omran. 5th place, Craig Thomas. 6th place was Andy White. 7th, Brian Moncani. 8th place was Nuno George. 9th place after the pit stop on lap number 1 was Darren Baldwin. 10th place was Andrew Osler, and 11th place was William Lane. Unfortunately, we had it'll be unclassified in 12th place would be Popovic. 13th would be Adam Dyke, and unfortunately we missed Brucey Collins at the start due to a few lagging issues, but we could possibly put that down to the PlayStation Network in the early side of things. But that was race number 1 from the Porsche 911 RSR Championship through ESR, and the brainchild of Darren Baldwin. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've kept you entertained. I hope it sounded okay, because it's the first endurance race that I've commentated on. So I'll see if there's any comments here that I might have missed. The barrier got in the way, Darren said. They tend to do that, unfortunately. A great watch, and well done to Nick. Thank you very much, Dean. It's with everything going on. Obviously, you've got the hours, endurance. This heat at the moment that we're experiencing in the UK is just ridiculous. But yeah, I've actually ended up standing up to finish it. But fantastic, brilliant to see, guys, and it's been a good race. I wasn't sure who would actually take victory there, but well done to Lee Dennington taking the first victory.
Well done.
And we'll have to see what happens now point wise and how everything pans out into the championship. Obviously we've got the eight rounds, so still 7 to go, plenty of time for the likes of Little John, Morris, Omran. Who knows with all the extra points for leading a lap and things like that, anyone could come along and throw themselves into the championship mix. It only takes that one DNF. So for now, I hope you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed having a go first time round, and we'll see you next week. I don't know if it will be a live broadcast next week. It might have to be a re-live, but I'll certainly do my best to get it done as soon as I can, if I can't do it live, but it's all very work dependent for me. But round 2 will be at Santa Cruz using the C layout, or layout C, whichever way around you want to put it, and hopefully it'll give some interesting racing. The longer lap will obviously increase the fun of it, and the tight barriers with the high damage rate or the heavy damage rate will certainly be interesting. But for now, thank you very much. Thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed the first round, brought to you, sponsored by Idle 4 Gaming and Hopper's Motorsport Vlogs. For now, enjoy, and I'll just remind you, we don't have anything this Friday, but next Friday, a week tomorrow, starts the new GT Supercars series and the World Touring Supercars series, both of which will be streamed on this channel. And then we've got this coming Monday night, we've obviously got the JTCC final rounds, and that's it for now. But we have got more information coming on new series. There's at least 2 being announced in the next couple of days. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.